So can I make my own Eurorack modules? That's going to be the experimentation, and that's kind of where I am right now. It's been a long time since I've done an in-person video. I've done some music videos here on the channel, and the channel in general is just kind of like, what's going on here? But life has been weird for me. I have been laid off for over a year now. The job market is incredibly soft and disastrous. So I've lost my job a while ago. I actually thought I was naive to think that this time was going to be an amazing time of freedom, that I would be out living my ultimate creative dream, but it's not like that, because when you're laid off, you basically just stress about how you pay the bills, and trying to get a job, which I've done, desperately try to find a job. And you also worry about money. So that means you can't buy things to experiment with, generally speaking. So I ended up selling a lot of my music gear, and the only music gear I have now is I have a couple EP133s from Teenage Engineering. They're KO2. And those were kind of fun, but I may end up getting rid of those to help pay for this project. Now, what is this project? Mentioning Eurorack. All right. I think ultimately when I create music, I have the desire to create, but I also have that Lego-esque desire to build something and piece something together. I am a tech person by trade. And the idea of creating something from nothing is very appealing to me. And combining that with the desire to create art, create something expressive, that leads me to believe that probably ultimately I should not have not have had 2 Octatracks, or even bought the Teenage Engineering stuff, or bought a bunch of other random bits and bobs that I've tried throughout, the last few years, I think at this point, trying to find like the ultimate creative expression musically. Because historically I've just used DAW, I've used FL Studio or things of that nature to create music, but it's missing something. I want the feeling of creation. Like banging away on a guitar. I actually hacked this guitar. Maybe I'll do a separate video on that. But maybe Eurorack is what I should have gotten into. Now, the thing about Eurorack is it's incredibly expensive. Even like simple little modules can run you $100, $150. And then all the really fancy modules are significantly more than that. Not to mention the case, et cetera, et cetera. Anyone who knows you've tried it, when you've completed your instrument, you've spent, a couple $1,000s. Now, in the grand scheme of things, maybe that's not a lot. But again, when you've been unemployed for a year, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. That's a mortgage payment right there. So yeah, so I don't know when I will return to the land of the employed, but I feel like I've been in stasis for a year. I've been incredibly not productive creatively, or anyway, I spend most of my days fretting, and not fretting in a cool guitar way, fretting in a, my, life is ending sort of way. So I need some kind of hobby. I need a distraction. So here we go again, Eurorack. Now, this won't be true Eurorack because, one, my 3D printer, say I designed this. This is a panel for my first module, which is tentatively titled the Drum Fuck. And it's going to be a 3-voice drum synth. But so I just designed this panel on my 3D printer, and it's not standard 3U size, though it's very close. I have a very tiny 3D printer. It only goes up to 120 millimeters. So that's what this is. So that's a little shorter than a standard Eurorack. And another thing that makes it a little bit not standard is that all my modules, I'm probably going to be using things like the Teensy, or what happened to my Arduino? I have an Arduino somewhere here. I had an Arduino here. I had an Arduino micro here somewhere, but no. So these all run on 5 volts, so not anywhere near the voltage that a lot of Eurorack modules run on. So since I'm basically going to have all my modules run by, little microcontrollers like this, because again, I can program them to do anything I want. These will be at the heart of all my creations. And it's 5 volts. So just to keep everything nice and cozy, I'm basically creating my own faux Eurorack standard, where it's going to be 120 millimeters tall and basically run on 5 volts. So all the CV will be 5 volts. Everything will be powered via 5 volts. 5 volts all the way down. But yeah, so I'm gonna have, this one's gonna have a total of 4. No, actually, no, just the 6. So a trigger for each drum voice. It's gonna be 3 drum voice. There's a kick, a snare, and a hat. So there's gonna be a CV input for trigger, and then the actual audio output. I'm gonna need 3 DACs to actually, op amps to actually handle the audio output. And here is just gonna be pots, that will be dials, so I can actually do various aspects. So there'll probably be different kinds of distortion and whatnot that'll affect all the voices and be able to alter the voices. So the controls and the outputs. But we'll see. I'm going to experiment back and forth about what exactly each of this will be. And I'll share the journey with you. So as I create, I will be sure to bring you along because I don't have much else to do and I never know what kind of content to share on this channel. So here we are. So definitely share the music as we create it, but also let's create the actual instruments. And again, I'm going to do a video on my hacked guitar. Maybe I'll record it right after this one and just post them both because, whatever. But yeah, so hopefully this all works out. I'll definitely keep you updated. I'll probably share schematics as things develop. I'm keeping it I'm not the greatest electrical engineer, so keeping things relatively simple and plug and play is my goal. Hence why, at least in the prototyping stage, I'm using these various bits and pieces that have actual screw terminals to plug wires in. And what I got is actual terminal blocks that I'm going to be soldering on to this board so I can basically access all the different pins on the Arduino wire it up via terminal blocks. But anyway, I'm rambling at this point. If this is of interest to you, if you're new to my channel, like it, join me on this journey. This will be fun. And hopefully we'll create some crazy industrial music. That is the goal. And hey, what's more industrial than actually building your instruments, your noisemakers? But anyway, that's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the flip side.